There's no denying that both ZTE and LG still have a lot to go before they could reach the same level as some of the elites in the space. The LG G5 recently launched, but it wasn't considered such a great hit, and now we have ZTE's latest device. Hey guys, John Velasco here with Android Authority, and this is our quick video comparison between the ZTE Axon 7 and the LG G5. The nice thing about the two is that they're made out of metal, so they do have that premium finish, but between them, I'm going to be inclined to say that the ZTE Axon 7 has the slightly more favorable design because it has that sturdy premium metal feel, whereas the LG G5, even though it has that modular design, it does still come off just a little bit hollow. Between the two of them, it's the ZTE Axon 7 that has the slightly larger 5.5-inch display, whereas the G5 has only a 5.3-incher. They're both Quad HD, so when you look at them from a normal distance, it's really hard to tell which one's more detailed, although technically it should be the G5. But despite that, we still like the ZTE Axon 7's display because they've used an AMOLED screen. So when you look at it at different angles, it maintains its sharpness and clarity, whereas with the G5, it tends to be subdued and kind of washed out. I'm not sure about you, but I wasn't really too thrilled with the LG G5's experience. Yes, it is straightforward, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they kind of scaled back compared to the G4's experience. So for power users, it isn't just as versatile as it was before. With the ZTE Axon 7, it pretty much remains faithful to last year's customized Android experience. For the most part, you have some stock-like elements, and the thing I do like about it is that you have a dedicated apps panel, so everything's there as opposed to being littered throughout the home screen. At the same time too, it's pretty powerful. You're going to get work done and straightforward. Again, like I said, either or can work for you. It's whether or not which visual you prefer better. Well, it shouldn't shock anyone that both handsets here are powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 chip with 4GB of RAM. So when it comes to basic elementary stuff, opening up apps, using the web browser, they both move at pretty much the same rate, but we should note that the ZTE Axon 7 is going to have another model that's going to have a whopping 6GB of RAM, which is going to be useful when it comes to doing some heavy processing stuff, especially things like VR. We know exactly how the LG G5's camera performs. You have that 16 megapixel dual camera setup with an f1.8 aperture lens, and it does take those wide angle snapshots and videos. You're not going to get that with the ZTE Axon 7 because now it's only sporting a single camera in the rear. It's a 20 megapixel one with an f1.8 aperture lens. You also have a sapphire lens over that to protect everything. So even though you're not going to get that post bokeh effect that the camera in last year's model was able to do, you could still achieve the same thing in a relatively quick time thanks to the fast processor it has. But we're really curious to see how well it performs under low light. The LG G5 has been out for a little bit of time now, and some people will say it's still kind of underwhelming despite the fact they've gone with this totally new and intriguing modular design. So for the ZTE Axon 7, it's really going to need to bring the goods to actually win over the hearts and minds of consumers. Well, we did check out some other things with the phone, like its Dolby Atmos speaker experience. It does really sound incredibly powerful through the handset and has almost like that 360-degree feel. And thankfully, this year's Model 2 is going to feature a built-in radio that's going to support all 4 major networks here in the US. So in addition to T-Mobile and AT&T support, you're now going to get Verizon and Sprint, which is great for this handset that's going to be sold unlocked. Now, they didn't specify the pricing of the ZTE Axon 7 yet, but all indications point to somewhere relatively close to last year's model, if not lower than the LG G5, so that should have a little bit of advantage for it. So if you guys want to learn more about either handset, you could check out our website, androidauthority.com. This is John Velasco, signing out.